This is the Cricket Betting Podcast. Welcome to the Unmissable Betting Guide to your fourth Ashes test. I'm Ed Hawkins. Do we finally get a competitive heat now the Ashes has burnt out? We're brought to you by 7bet.co.uk, a fresh sports betting brand that offers such features as early payout, bet builder, betting insights, ACCA boost and more. Go to 7bet.co.uk and experience world-class betting for yourself. More offers from 7bet as we go through this pod. But let's say hello to Paul Krishnamurty, who is plus 41.4 on the best bets after a 10.75 point plus week last time. Hello, Paul.
Hi, Ed. How are you?
I'm good. Look, I'm looking forward to the fourth test. I think this is going to be competitive. Richard Mann of sportinglife.com plus 0.29, but not actually as far behind Paul Krishnamurty as those numbers suggest, with anti-post Ashes winners on their way. All right, Rich?
Yeah, Mitchell Stark, as long as he can stay fit, we'll be okay.
All you need to
Keep
do
going.
is stand up.
Unlike Nathan Lyon, actually, I should add, we were on for a big VIP winner, and then the old hamstring went, didn't he? God,
Oh,
grief.
11-1 winner for VIP was almost weighed in with Lyon needing two more wickets. Of course, he does his hamstring. We've had some bad luck on injuries on VIP Telegram channel, but we're still in profit, so get subscribed to that in the comments below. We've got the Christmas Day night test, which is from the MCG. We're going to tell you exactly what happens. Can England hit back? Will there be a different side without pressure? I suspect so. Do you think so, Paul?
Well, look, I can see the logic, and I can see that Australia could take their foot off the pedal, and England were better in the third test than the two previous ones. But to be honest, they're entitled to be demoralised. They've been terrible. I'm not really convinced that out of form players are suddenly going to come good. I mean, how many times we've seen in Australia, it just gets worse and worse for the visiting side. And the fundamental weaknesses are still there: the lack of a spinner, the fact that pace bowlers are tiring. So I'm not, from an England perspective, I'm not brimming with optimism.
Richard Mann, if I said to you a month ago that Cummins would play only one test of five, Lyon would play twice and then, go off with a hamstring in the fourth, Hazel would not play any part at all, how many points would you have had on an England series win? As well, I'd also have told you they had a 100-run lead effectively with 9 wickets left in Perth in the third. How many points on a
Yeah,
series
well,
win?
look, I was pro Australia, but you're right about that Perth game. I mean, that the whole series turned on that second session of day two. England were in control. I know how different it could have been. You do wonder, don't you? But ultimately, whatever England have thrown at Australia in terms of tactics, approach, and whatever Australia have had in their disposal in terms of players, fit available players, Australia have done the basics well. They've played smart, and England have not, and that's why it's 3-0, sadly. And such a shame because we wanted to go into Christmas with a real contest, didn't we? And we thought we'd get it, and we haven't.
Yeah, this is really about 5-0 now or not. 11 to 10 AK bets. 4 to 1 Australia is 11 to 4 generally. 3-2 Australia 16s general. Paul, what's the final score?
It's 5-0, I think, but in all honesty, I mean, it's way too, the odds are too short when you think how likely it is that these games will swing around in running. And in all honesty, with that in mind, I'd lay it at those prices, hoping it would drift.
Rich?
Yeah, probably exactly the same. I still have belief England can come off somewhere, and I do think what you're saying has logic about the pressure off now. They've had chances. It's amazing actually because you talk about McCullum talks about him being not a technique coach, a coach about mental and getting players ready for big moments and relaxed and free to play the best cricket. And yet, when they've had these moments, when this relaxed approach and pressure off is supposedly going to work, they've not taken any of them. And that's why they've lost the series because they have been in the games. You kind of wonder actually what he's doing because what he is doing isn't working. But they have been competitive. Even when Jamie Smith was going great guns in Adelaide, look, they were still heavy second favourites, but they had a chance and they just couldn't grasp that moment.
Yeah, and it's also interesting, and I don't want to go on too long about this, but as soon as a contest is over, particularly an Ashes series, and England have lost, all the reasons or excuses start coming out very, very early in terms of England's setup. They've got they're switching bowling coaches halfway through this series. Southey was the bowling coach. Saker came in. Southey's coming back. There's no fielding coach. There's no wicket keeper coach. Just some of the things that you would like to know before a ball is bowled or before you start betting on it, certainly. What is on the show then? Let's get on with it. Pitch report, team news, in-play strategies, player win rates, and loads more for that fourth test. We're going to tell you exactly what happens. We've got a decent record on this Ashes series so far. So we do start with match odds for the fourth test, 23.30 MCG, Christmas Day, 1-2 Australia, 365 888 lads Coral, England 5-2 365 lads Coral, draw 10-1 Unibet Boyles 888. I'm going to give you some possible teams. We'll get Richard's views on these. Australia, I think this is what they're going to do. Khawaja head, Labuschagne, Smith coming back in if he's fit again from vertigo, although that does go on and it's a nasty thing. Head, Green, Carey, Nisa in for Cummins, who's basically said he doesn't really fancy risking his back. Stark, Boland, we think Lyon's going to miss out, so Kuhneman's going to come in. England, Crawley, Duckett, Bethel in for Pope, whose career is almost certainly over. Root, Brooks, Stokes, Smith, Jacks, Archer. I think they might have to have another look at somebody other than Bryden Carson, a top wicket taker, but he's been all over the place. It's ridiculous that he's got the most wickets. So Atkinson or Potts for him, and then Tongue. Pretty close, Rich?
Yeah, I think you're about right with England. I know the stock have actually been rested, but I hope and I think they'll keep going with him. The Atkinson Potts one's interesting. I personally think they need just almost an old style line and length bowler, and I'd like to see Matt Fisher get a go. He was called up as a replacement for Matt Wood, but I suspect they'll go with how you've gone. I expect Atkinson will actually come back in.
Paul, just a view on that. We've got Smith back in, but if he doesn't make it, you've got Weatherald opening the batting, Khawaja in the middle order. That does look quite a weak Australia batting lineup. And it did look a weak Australia batting lineup in Adelaide, actually. It was 38 for 6 England took in that third innings.
I mean, I think it is a weak Australia batting lineup. I don't think that Australia's batsmen have won this series. It's our terrible batting and their excellent bowling. Personally, I would put Bo Webster in. I think he's got to get a game somewhere. He's done really well in the few matches he's played, so he deserves a game somewhere. And look, even if it is weak, there's still a lot of tormentors in there. A lot of players who have given England a hard time. And even Khawaja was okay in that match, right? I mean, he's not the player he was, but he's still competitive. And you'd add, even without the bowling, look, we don't know Matthew Kuhneman. Our English batters don't know Matthew Kuhneman. We don't play spin well. He could well do something. And yes, no Cummins, but there was no Cummins in the first two tests either. And Scott Boland absolutely destroyed England the last time they played in Melbourne. So I'm not too negative about it.
All right. Your 0% margin feature at 7Bet Sportsbook is a feature which is designed to offer betting odds that do not include the typical margin added by the bookmaker. Check out more of their features on 7bet.co.uk/features. So let's get on with that pitch report now from the MCG. We've got a bit of a forecast for rain the first 2 days, but an asterisk by that because we're obviously a long way out from it actually starting. So keep an eye on that. It's a bit of hashtag overheads, the MCG generally. Last 5 first innings scores in Test match cricket. Very interesting. 474, 318. And then it gets pretty low. 189, 185, 195. There's definitely a surface which keeps the bowlers keen. Sheffield Shield this season. One match so far. Scores of 194, 255, 5. Western Australia got up in the 4th to win relatively easily in that one, lost only 4 wickets in the chase. Sheffield Shield last season, 2 games, scores of talking telephone numbers 172, 123, 223, 249 and 272, 136, 246, 241. And that was in first innings through second innings, third innings, etc. of the order. Stats and trends, only be 1 drawn test the MCG in the last 10. First innings average runs per wicket is 40.3. Fourth innings average runs per wicket is 24. So the sort of gap you would expect. Australia won 7 of the last 10 at the G. Paul, pitch angles, pre-toss or in play? Take your pick.
Well, you mentioned a bit of rain, overcast conditions. Forecast I had it only at 20%, so I think it's probably overcast conditions, probably not easy to bat first 2 days. And I think everything we've seen, everything we know points to low scoring. Again, I mean, the run lines have almost all come in unders off their opening quote throughout the series so far. Even last time, even that Australia score 371, that was below par. If you look at the Melbourne in our 5-year study sample, 3 out of 5 saw under 1,000 runs. I think it's going to be a huge advantage to be batting at the right time in those first 2 days because of the overcast conditions. I know 30% of first innings in the study sample will come in under 200. So it's definitely an unders place. And I think we could be looking at an early finish. Maybe, well, I can't see it making the 5th day. Maybe it won't make the 4th day.
Yeah, and on that point about bowlers potentially dominating in a short game, 7bet have actually got some very interesting specials up on the Ashes series at the moment, and we'll return to it. I think Paul and Richard both had a look at this, and we'll pick these out as we go through. But one from the lowest all-out team score, under 131.5 at 2-1, was something which interested me because we're going to the 2 tests now, which are probably the more bowler-friendly of the series so far. We could well see team raised at the G. Rich, have you got any angles on the pitch?
I sort of agree with Paul, really. I do think they'll leave grass on it. I remember this used to be a really flat pitch. Do you remember the Alistair Cook 244 not out, was it? That's 2017. And then they were in danger of losing test status because the pitch had got that bad here, that flat. Completely changed now. They'll leave grass on it, but the over-egged heads will just exaggerate things. That's just a game changer, isn't it? And with England, as we've seen, there doesn't need to be that much in it. They batted well in Adelaide, really, comparative to the rest of the series. But the Gabba wasn't bad. It wasn't bad when you got out away from the lights, but they still struggled just anything. And that, I think there'll be just enough in that for the Australian seamers this week.
All right, Richard's giving a hint to how he's going to answer this next question. I think Paul has as well. But, I mean, the odds are prohibitive, Paul. I mean, who wins the match?
Yeah, it has to be Australia. The odds are prohibitive. I couldn't back it, knowing that they could end up being put in on a green pitch in overcast conditions. So hopefully it'll drift out a bit. Hopefully the in-play system will work this time.
Rich, for you?
Yeah, Australia, but that is key. I think Paul said there. Depends, you could find yourself batting at the wrong time, and that might just be the leveler that England need. You never know.
For what it's worth, I think this pitch is going to be a bit of a leveler, and if England can get best of conditions, it's probably one to wait around for. Stay up on Christmas Day night if you can, and if what's coming back from the TV, overcast conditions, bit of a green surface, and Stokes says we're going to have a bowl, I think that's the time to play England. Go on, Rich.
No, sorry, we saw in Adelaide, didn't we? England are much happier out of the batting last.
Yeah.
They just Stokes captains bear that way as well.
Yeah. Any more business in terms of one more thing, Paul, that actually happens in this test?
Yeah, well, Okay, I'm going to say two things, sorry, because meant to mention one before. First of all, no ton in the match has won 2 out of the last 5 here, and that's a 7-2 chance, so that's value in the numbers in a low-scoring game. But also, with an eye on those early conditions favouring one side, I think 5-1 about an innings victory is very plausible here. It's very easy the first team put in, bowled out for 150, next team makes 400. You've got a fantastic chance.
Another nugget from Richard.
Well, actually, not only the match interests me, but actually the 7-bet specials that you're talking about, these are really good, by the way. Series tons now, the line's at 7.5. That's 18 to 25 is 7-bet if you want to play unders, and I'd definitely be playing unders. Just Kevin Peterson put a tweet out a few weeks ago, I think the South Africa when they won at Kolkata, saying batsmen just aren't designed for Test match cricket nowadays, and he got a lot of flack for it. Players can't bat time, but he was right essentially. I know he says a lot of things that are wrong, but he was right. And you've seen it in this series. I mean, we've had 4 in 3 games so far. We've just had an absolute road, Adelaide, and yet we only got 2 tons. I was looking at the spread actually before the game. I was thinking 4 or 5 tons in that match. People just can't do it. And Carey and Head as well, who made the tons, both very fortunate. One dropped on 99, the other really was out by DRS or given a lifeline through DRS. And yet you looked 15 years back, that famous 2010-2011 series. I know England were brilliant, but they made 9 tons in that series. But as bad as Australia were in that series, they still made 3. England aren't going to make 3 in this series with 2 to go, and obviously tough conditions at the G. It's just amazing how things have changed. People not being able to bat time and make those really big scores, or not enough people. And I think just bringing it back to betting, that's something we are going to have to get on board with and be more aware of, because I love my milestones betting, but you're getting caught short if you're backing tons. Just not enough of them happening.
We're going to come to Paul for his Ashes series special spot from 7-bet in a second, but seems pertinent to tell you can get a free £10 bet courtesy of the Cricket Betting Podcast with 7-bet if you use the promo code WFB10. For £10 first deposit, minimum £10 stake, £10 free bet, minimum odds, evens, maximum winnings £100, 5-day expiry bonus, T's and C's apply. If you like the Cricket Betting Podcast and you think we're worth listening to, please do sign up to 7-bet, because they help this podcast get into your ears every single week. They're our partners and sponsors. So if we can send some sign-ups their way, we can keep producing this podcast. Paul, what have you spotted on those series specials?
Yeah, I think this is a really outstanding bet. In fact, I would like some extra points for best bets, please, this week, just to have this. So it's under 47.56s in the series, right? We're on 30 so far, so we're under 17.5 for the last 2. Now, as anyone who follows in the VIP group will know, we love taking on 6s at the MCG and the SCG, big grounds, very hard to hit 6s. I look back over recent years, this bet has landed the last 8 winters. Whoever Australia have played, there have been under 17.56s every year in those 2 tests. And also, just to say, odds against as well is 119 to 100. It isn't even a 5 or 6 pair job. So major bit of value there.
There you go. Get onto that one. Get signed up for 7-bet to take advantage of that. That's the sort of bet that actually we normally sort of keep to ourselves for VIP. So get onto 7-bet now and have a bit of that. Don't forget to sub up to that VIP Telegram channel in the comments section below, where Paul, Rich and myself are there providing the best bets every single day to your phone or device, in plays, every televised game. Big Bash ILT 20. We're up on profits, ROI, so get involved. You'll be A-OK on the VIP. You also get access to the VIP channel, chat room. Loads of betting angles being discussed on cricket and darts at the moment as well. So if that's your bag, you'll be well served. Let's talk about player win rates for this test match at the MCG. Australia and then England players on the top markets. It's just a general point about win rates, which I know I like to bang on about. I really can't remember a set of players with worse numbers for a test series in this. Absolute horror show across both teams in terms of finding gaps between implied probability and how often some of these guys win. I mean, Duckett, 7.6% in the first innings last 2 years, 3.8 in the second. Smith, 10% first and second innings. Really terrible numbers. No batter has more than a 23% win rate across these two teams in the last 2 years, and that's Joe Root. And as we always say, Joe Root is nowhere near a 23% chance with your oddsmen. So bearing that in mind, the only angles I can find in terms of win rate is Khawaja at 15% winning, rated at 13-2 generally, and that's 30% chance. You can get Alex Carey at 7-1 with Unibet and Betfred. He's winning 19% of the time, but you're basically following the money with Carey because he's been delivering big runs. Head is not far off. 4-1 Sky Bet Power Betfair Sportsbook. He's winning 19% of the time, but no sugar really. So those are your Australian batters. Rich, I'm against Khawaja here if he opens the batting, potentially bowler-friendly pitch. Labuschagne, interesting as well. Seems like actually played himself out of form in this Ashes series. When he came in, was absolutely dynamite form. He's now getting squared up. His technique's going to now seem to know where his off stump is anymore. What do you got?
Yeah, frustrating with Labuschagne making starts and not going on. I agree. Feels like we've missed the boat a bit with Carey. Struggling, to be honest, actually, with this market. I think it's a rare occasion where I'd definitely be saying no bet.
Well, Swerve is as good as a loser, isn't it? Well, better than a loser. Anything in play, Rich? Do you agree with Khawaja? Or are you put off by what he's just done?
Yeah, I think once he gets on a juicier pitch, just something in play I do want to say. The three Sheffield Shield games this season, India last year on this ground, they got a lot of their wickets either bowled or LBW. Australia didn't, but India went that way. Sheffield Shield games this season, first one, 14 bowled across the match, 5 LBWs. Second, eight bowled, 5 LBWs. Then the third, it did taper off quite a bit. But bowled an LBW, I think you're banging the money. And I just wondered if England, the visiting team, finally might start pitching it up. I mean, it's one for, I know you've talked about Root LBW as well, but I just wonder if that might be the way to go. Bowled LBWs. It'd be interesting to see sort of early in the game how the pitch is shaping up in terms of bounce and lateral movement, particularly inward lateral movement.
Boland's a specialist for that one. Root, often a VIP in-play pick, actually, LBW. Did him in the last test and the previous test. Just gets hit on the pad all the time. And I think we've been on him for LBW's 5-3 now. DRS referrals probably should have been given the last one in Adelaide of Travis Head, of all people. Paul, Australia bats picks, if you've got any. You might be like Rich and say, well, just nothing there in the market.
Yeah, well, Alex Carey's done me proud. Delivered twice on this at 12-1, and now he's 7s. So I think it's probably time to abandon that strategy. Although I would still take the 6-1 on him getting most sixes in the first innings for Australia, simply because you look at the numbers and it's him or Travis Head. Loads of the others like Labuschagne and Khawaja might be major players for top bat, but they've got a terrible sixes record, and Carey bats with the tail. Also, with a potential low score in play, I'd be looking at Mitchell Starc again at a silly price.
Alrighty. Top bowler, not much to discuss really here. Certainly not much to beat for Boland. 7 wickets in that 2021 game at G, of course. He's 3-1 with Pat Cummins still listed at Boyle, Betfair Sportsbook Power, Sky Bet. Starc 5-2 Sky Bet. Starc doesn't have a great record at the G, actually. Averages 33. And I think it's his second least favourite ground in terms of his stats, behind Sydney, actually, rather surprisingly. Any thoughts, top Australia bowler, Rich or Paul?
I'm very keen on Boland here. Brilliant record here. I think he's bowled well in the series. Probably hasn't got the rewards that his efforts deserve, but that will change, you suspect, particularly on his home ground. 6 for 7 against England 4 years ago.
Paul?
Exactly the same. 11-1 man of the match as well as that 3-1. He's bowling really well. And look at his. I'm also interested. I haven't seen any odds up yet, but player performance because he has actually added a few runs with a bat, and he takes the odd catch. Last three, his performances at Melbourne, he made 151, 50, and 176. And he's made at least 80 in the three matches so far. So hopefully we'll get a nice low line on him.
There's consensus with Boland across all three of us. Let's move to England tops now. Again, dearth of value. Same point I've just made about win rates. So the two that I've picked out in terms of how often they win and getting an edge on implied probability with these bookmakers. Well, we've got Zach Crawley at 7-1 Betfred. Star Sports got a 22% win rate. But does anyone want to be backing Zach Crawley with the ball hooping around at the MCG? Of course not. So I've looked at Jamie Smith quite seriously. 11-1 Betfred, 22% win rate. Now we're getting a fair study sample on Smith now as well, which is good. And has he settled into the series? Paul, any follows?
Well, it's not my favourite market, to be honest with you. For the top end of the market, I would look at Ben Stokes, who played pretty well last time. Not going to have to worry about Nathan Lyon this time. Guaranteed to be fighting till the death in this series. Now, but secondly, I would say, I know you've got him in. I'm not convinced Archer will play. I think they'll rest him. But if Archer plays, he has just proven once again, right, that he is always overpriced at like 100-1 plus. The guy can bat, you know. I don't know if he's won it in Test cricket, but he's definitely won it in one-day cricket and in the IPL. So, with a low score in mind, if Archer's in the team, I would take 80-1 plus.
40 or 50 could win this one. That's for sure. Richard Mann.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Archer, I mean, this price is an anomaly, but Archer 125 for Bet365. So yeah, I have got him actually penciled in for the best bet. So keep your mitts off. And Carsey's 50s as well. I'm not sure both will play, but I suspect one will play. Stakes returned if they don't play. Cars 30 odd not out at Adelaide, quick 20 at Perth. He's a bit of a head case, I think, Cars, isn't he? But he can clearly bat. I just think lower down the order. I think Ed makes a really good point about Smith, who actually I think he's copped some unfair criticism in this series so far. I mean, they've all been terrible, and yet Smith seems to be, one of the ones who's really getting hit. His keeping hasn't matched up to Carey's, but I mean, there we go. But yeah, I think lower down is the way to go.
Yeah, no, that's a podcast in itself. Carey's wicket keeping. We're all supposed to be raving about it, but I grew up watching Jack Russell.
I knew this was coming.
I can't have it, Richard. It's just, you're standing up the other week, was it in Brisbane? Everyone wetting their pants about it. He was standing too far back, and he missed a stumping because of it. Anyway, I'm going to stop. The quality of Test wicket keeping.
You just want to see Mark Lane nipping it about, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, Jack Russell standing up to John Lewis or Ian Harvey. There you go. Right. Any in plays on some of these England batters? I mean, selling England's batters runs when they've got into about the mid-teens has been profitable in play. Paul?
No, not really my market, to be honest. I would want to see conditions before committing to that.
I'm against Brook here. 25.5 Boyle Sports first innings runs line. You remember at the start of the series, I've put him up for no ton in the series. At 11-10, that's looking good so far. I just think he's got found out. Technically, he doesn't move his feet far enough across to defend outside off stump. And I think the big ground here could catch him out playing the short ball as well. So if it's a juicy deck, I'm happy to go low on Brook.
England top bowler market now. Atkinson wins 26% of the time, but not likely to come back into the team. But 7-2 Ball Sports. Archer has one win from 5, wants to come back in team 3 with Boyle Sports. There's nothing really here for me at all, but I'll ask the question, Richard.
Well, Tung, I think he's one who probably should back up. He'd have probably won it actually last week were it not for drop catches and that DRS that was incorrect off Carey. So I think he's a solid pick because either Cass or Archer won't play. One of them you think would sit out.
Paul?
Totally agree. He's fresher than the rest. I think the MCG will suit Tongue as well.
Yeah.
And he did bowl pretty well last week.
Sort of 16-1 Tongue to be top England series wicket taker, in case he does a Scotty Boland at the MCG and Archer doesn't play again or Cast doesn't play again. A few things which have to happen, but there you go. We're going to go to best bets now. We've looked at the specials. We've looked at your player win rates. We've done teams, pitch reports, etc. And we think we've pretty much told you exactly what's going to happen in the fourth Ashes Test at the MCG Christmas Day night. It starts. So we will go to best bets. Both Paul and Richard have 5 units to spend. And as Paul boasted that he wanted more than 5 units, you can go first.
Okay. So under 47.5 series sixes with 7-bet, 2 points at 119 to 100. That's the one I want the extra points for. And I'll have 1.5 points England first innings runs under 225. And I have 1.5 points Scott Boland top Australia first innings bowler at 3-1.
Richard Mann, please.
Yeah, so I'll have I'm just gonna 2 points under 7.5 series tons at 18 to 25 with 7-bet. I'm gonna have 1.5 points Harry Brook under 25.5 first innings runs at Boyle Sports. I'm going to have half a point Scott Boland man of the match. And then what does that leave me? A full point, doesn't it? So I'm going to split stakes. Half a point, Gaffer Archer, top England first innings bat 125 to 1, bet 365. And half a point, Pride and Cast, top England first innings bat at 50 to 1, also bet 365.
All right. Those are your best bets. Don't forget to subscribe to the In Play VIP channel in the comments section below via Telegram, so you'll get the best Ashes fourth test bets as we see them as this test gets underway. Yes, we're working for you on Christmas Day and Boxing Day, so don't miss that. Also, double bubble this week if you're eagle-eyed and you've got your ears peeled. We've got an SAT20 podcast telling you exactly what happens in the SAT20 and the ultimate betting guide to that. Also brought to you by 7Bet. So check that one out, and we will see you next time for our preview of the 5th and final Ashes Test. See you then.